Who has a habit of falling into niche rabbit holes? This gal! And today I will be spreading the Fragaria Memories propaganda. What am I talking about? I am so glad you asked. Fragaria Memories is a multimedia project from famed cute mascot company Sanrio that was launched in 2023. It features pretty anime boys based on some of their characters. This sounds incredibly silly, and it is, which is why I love it. This video has been in the works for some time, to the point that my friend Raven beat me to making a video about Fragaria Memories. It's a tier list based on just the designs and not any of the greater lore. I recommend it because it's very funny and they spit nothing but facts. But let's keep going and exploring what Fragaria Memories is. There are music videos, collab cafes, merchandise, ask advice videos, and what really got me into this whole thing were the visual novel-esque story episodes found on YouTube. Because this isn't just a fun mascot campaign, this is a fully fledged fantasy story. And to my delight, the official uploads have fully translated English closed captions. It was all over from me when I discovered that. A brief overview of the story goes as follows. Long ago, the Strawberry King arrived in the world of Fragaria alongside Hello Kitty and her friends. They established several kingdoms across 3 different continents and lived in an era of Minna Nakuyoku. Everyone gets along. That is until recently, when the seeds showed up. Mysterious monsters that cause havoc everywhere they appear, making items disappear, people disappear, feeding off the negativity of others, and turning bento ingredients into monsters. The only way to defeat the seeds is with the banishing magic granted to the knights of each kingdom. With this setting, we follow 3 separate stories on each of the continents: red, blue, and black. And the groups are known as the red, blue, and noir bouquet. So, the story, let's get into it. The Red Continent is home to the kingdoms of Hello Kitty, My Melody, Pom Pom Purin, Usahana, Maron Cream, and Kirimi-chan. Legend says that long ago, the knights of each kingdom came together to solve the problems of the land, going across borders to help wherever needed, and they were known as the Red Bouquet. Now, in modern day, we follow Halrit as he attends the round table of the Knights' continents. They gather together to discuss the rising threat of the seeds, leading to all 6 knights eventually setting out to travel to each of their kingdoms and resolve the issues that have risen. Halrit, being the poster child for this entire project, does a really good job at showcasing what this whole thing is. It's silly, but it's also so earnest and sincere, and you can see the more serious elements in the suit and princely attire, but then you smack on this big stupid jacket on top of it all, and it slaps. I love this. It's perfect. His little face, I love him. As the Knight of Hello Kitty, Halrit himself is earnest, hardworking, and genuine. It's honestly been great to watch him grow over the course of the episodes. He started out a little naive, as the Hello Kitty kingdom lives in relative peace, but as he traveled with the other knights to each of their kingdoms, learning how other people live, he's matured, all without ever losing that unwavering faith in the good of others. Merrild is the Knight of My Melody, and I think the best way to describe him is petty gay. Jokes aside, Merrild is fiercely protective in his own way, perceptive, intelligent, and always having some kind of smart aleck response. Merrild is known as the strongest knight, and it turns out most of those stories are just exaggerations, which Merrild uses to his advantage. He becomes more interesting as the story goes on, especially when we make it to the My Melody kingdom. Romarish is the Fragaria of Maron Cream, a Sanrio character I haven't heard of until now. He's a polite and hospitable man who likes to take care of others. And that's sort of the whole vibe with Romarish and the Maron Cream kingdom. Hospitality, sewing, and making sweets. Though he has been shown to be incredibly strong and holding a lot of passion beneath the surface, if I'm Stitch Dot is anything to go off of. Then there's Rimicha, who is just such a little creature. Like, buddy, I can see the mental illness 8 miles away. He is the knight of Kirimi-chan, and the entirety of the Kirimi-chan kingdom is based around bento boxes. It's so goofy, I love it. Rimicha has a highly volatile personality, going from 0 to 100 and back to 0 real quick. He's also a gamer. His design is so all over the place. It's amazing. Sana! The Fragaria of Usohana is just some guy having a beach day. He isn't quite himbo, but like there's a bit of that energy. The vibes radiating off of him are good and perfect. He wants to spread the happiness he has with those around him. And the cutest thing is when he talks about his lord, instead of using Sama as an honorific, he just calls her Hana-chan, and that's just, he's so sweet and looks like he gives amazing hugs. And finally, Peruth, the Knight of Pom Pom Purin. He's a lot deeper of a character than I initially thought. Purin is very lax, coming from a culture that values personal freedom, but he's also very mature, keeping a cool head in tense situations. The battle against the seeds in the Pom Pom Purin kingdom really made me feel for him. All of these characters have a lot of fun chemistry with each other. Merrill and Romarish are longtime friends, as are Sana and Rimicha. Hallrit sort of becomes a trio with Sana and Rimicha, as they're all the youngest of the knights. The Blue Continent is home to the kingdoms of Cinnamoroll, the Little Twin Stars, Wishmimel, Kuromi, and Kagemune. Here, we follow Kurode, the younger brother of Merrill, as he tries to find his place in the world. He ends up in the Kuromi kingdom and becomes integral to both its lord and its people, though he quickly discovers there's more going on than meets the eye. I'll be honest, the Blue Bouquet is the most complicated story. Both Red and Noir Bouquet have a sort of road trip vibe, going around to each kingdom and such, but Blue Bouquet, we haven't really gone to the other different kingdoms. There is a massive alliance forming, however, as the Fragaria for Cinnamoroll wants to form the very first Blue Bouquet, inspired by the legend of the Red Bouquet. Let's get to the characters, though. Kurode as a character is really cool. Personality-wise, he's pretty chill. With this kind of design, you expect a whole lot of angst, and we do get a little bit of the whole, "I'll surpass my brother" thing. But also, he likes to wake up early in the morning, loves to train and exercise, and he's always trying his hardest, and I really want to see him succeed. As of now, he's only Kuromi's squire, but we all know he'll be her knight, because look at him. Despite the story following Kurode, he is not the ringleader of the Blue Bouquet. That would be Ciellamort, Knight of Cinnamoroll. And it's incredible how untrustworthy this guy feels. He's cool and calm, but takes a lot of bold actions that you wouldn't expect. He's also a schemer, sending a spy to the Kuromi kingdom in order to convince Kuromi to join his alliance. I like Ciellamort. He's cool and has good intentions, but every appearance on screen feels like a jump scare. The spy that was sent to the Kuromi kingdom is Wilmesh, Knight of Wishmimel. And there's a lot of mystery with that kingdom as a whole. The whole place is a secret, which works with Wilmesh and his theme of unspoken feelings. He's described as someone who struggles to express himself, and you can see that throughout the story. Bro's some kind of pastel pink ninja, and it's pretty cool though. Then there's Muna, the Knight of Kagemune, who I didn't even realize was a Sanrio character. He was apparently a prodigy while in night school, but is on the weaker side when it comes to raw power. I think it's more so he has a lot of magical potential. I don't know, but he's such a hard worker and always wanting to aspire to do better. I like this little guy. This is a little guy, he's cool. And finally, the Knights for the Little Twin Stars. We have Clark Stella, Knight of Kiki, and Louder Stella, Knight of Lala. Like a lot of twin characters, these two mirror each other in a lot of ways. They both practice astrology, but Lauder is particularly gifted in this art. And in addition to astrology, Clark also works with machines and has an interest in mechanics. Unlike the red bouquet, the dynamics of the blue bouquet are a bit more tumultuous. Right now, in the story, Kurode is very much angry at Wilmesh for tricking him and at Cielamort for just kind of being a jerk earlier in the story. Muna is put in the middle of the Kurode and Wilmesh fallout like a child in the middle of a parental divorce. Lauder is alright, but Clark is incredibly antisocial to the point of being rude, kind of for the sake of being rude. I want to punch him, man. Last but not least, Noir Bouquet. On the Black Continent, we have the kingdoms of Bad Batsmaru, Pochako, Peckle, Tuxedo Sam, Keropi, and Hangyongdon. Here, we follow Arpek as he travels to each kingdom, giving the lords summer gifts on behalf of his lord, Peckle. Arpek is a simple guy with simple wants. He's straightforward, friendly, outgoing, and somewhat of an airhead. He tends not to pick up on smaller details, but shows a lot of emotional maturity, wanting to understand others and why they do the things they do. In general, he has an amazing ability to connect with others without even realizing it. He's a carefree country bumpkin type of guy, and I like him a lot. Then there's Chaco, Knight of Pochako. He's basically a more street smarts version of Arpek. Chaco himself is pretty naturally talented, excelling in skateboarding, parkour, and other physical activities. His friendship with Arpek is really charming, and I can't wait to see them interact more. Tuxum is the Knight of Tuxedo Sam, and I gotta say, this character design, mwah! The big sleeves and the poofy jacket with the tight pants makes for such a nice silhouette, and I eat this type of character design up every time. Tuxum wants to be the ultimate gentleman and is a little neurotic about it, but at the end of the day, he's got a good heart, and I trust him with my life. Picaro. I'm not a fan. Mainly because his lord, Keropi, is one of my favorite Sanrio characters, and Picaro is a jerk. The overly logical, I'm better than you kind of guy, and I want to punch him. But also he's funny, so it's alright. He and Tuxum are friends in their own unique way. Hanyon, the Fragaria for Hangyongdon, is a character I want to study under a microscope. He's some kind of yokai ghost fish man who loves to party, but he's also secretly sad. Bro has a lot of themes relating to fleeting moments of joy and saying goodbye. I'm fascinated by this dude. Also, his friend is an octopus fairy named Lily. And finally, the Knight for Bad Batsmaru and the leader of the Noir Bouquet, Badobarm. Within the story segments, he hasn't met the main crew yet, but we've been cutting away to Badobarm and what he's doing. Dude kind of debated his way into being a knight and has the goal of becoming king. And everyone who works for him calls him Big Bro because despite being intimidating, he's pretty chill. His crocodile fairy is named Tama, but it gets translated as Egbert, cause, you know, egg. As of right now in the story, Arpek, Chaco, Tuxum, and presumably Picaro are on their way to the Hangyongdon Kingdom. That's a basic introduction to Fragaria Memories and its story. I super recommend you check it out. It's really cool, got a lot of cool music and art, and I love it. And now, I'm just gonna blab about my miscellaneous thoughts on this series because I'm obsessed. There are a couple of different themes that pop up throughout this little franchise, one of which is Minna Nakuyoku, aka everyone gets along, which I say it like that because that is how the official English closed captions translate it, and that is incredibly funny because it is not an untranslatable concept. Minna, everyone, Nakoyoku, gets along. Anyway, the main plot seems to have this as a primary moral. Because every kingdom has completely different cultures and values. The My Melody Kingdom is a center for fashion and style. The Kirimi-chan Kingdom is all about bento boxes. Both the Kagemune and Pekko Kingdoms seem to be small farming countries, while the Bad Batsmaru and Cinnamoroll Kingdoms are huge powerhouses. Every place we visit is vastly different from one another. In the very beginning, we see this theme in the Hello Kitty Kingdom. There's a marketplace which allows for everyone, local or not, to set up a stall, but when things start to disappear, all suspicion goes towards a foreigner simply because he just seems suspicious. And Halrit is the one who stands up and says, "This man has done nothing to deserve your ire." Over on the blue continent, in an attempt to keep their kingdom safe from the seeds, the twins close the borders, which causes problems for both other kingdoms as well as the people who live there. The Black Continent has the theme of multiculturalism in the purpose of Arpek's journey. He loves his home and never wanted to leave it, so when Pekko sends him off to each kingdom, Arpek believes it was so he would go out and see the world and experience something new, things that he couldn't get in the Pekko Kingdom, and he has a blast in the Pochako Kingdom and then helps resolve the issues in the Tuxedo Sam Kingdom. The main point of the story seems to be celebrating differences between cultures while still remembering that everyone around them is a person, and at the end of the day, people are the same. Each of the knights have their own stated chivalries, and I think that's super interesting. Halrit's, for instance, is trust, and we can see that with how he believes in the best of everyone, and how he wants to experience the world. Merald's is fealty, though? Like, loyalty to one's lord from, like, feudalism? That's weird. Ciel's is love, and that's also a little weird. Probably why the April Fool's video is just these two hyping up their lords. Other chivalries I find interesting. Rimicha's is courage, and on the official website it says to summon the courage to stand out and be true to oneself. And I find that interesting for Rimicha, who is very unabashedly himself. Wilmesh's chivalry, God, there goes my lisp, is secrecy, which is really interesting. While in the Purin Kingdom, Perunth is reading a letter and mentions searching for some kind of special tree, saying that it's somewhere on the Blue Continent. And with the Wishmimel Kingdom being a secret kingdom, its night being all about secret messages and such, I think the entire kingdom is guarding some kind of secret. As of now, Kurode doesn't have a listed chivalry, because he's still trying to figure it out for himself. And I really like that. Theory time! Okay, so, the name Fragaria obviously comes from the word fragment, so fragment memories. What does that mean? Well, along with that, a lot of the songs have a motif of a clock ticking, like time ticking by, and then there's the seeds stealing away what each kingdom finds most important. So maybe there's a theme of like things fading away. And as a note, only the knights are called Fragaria. Everyone else is just a person, but you have to become a Fragaria. So it's a special category one can be given. I don't have a complete thought or end goal with this theory, but there's something here, I swear. I find it really funny that with Clark and Louder, it's stated that their lords basically raised them. And the reason I find this funny is because the little twin stars look like this. These are babies. I know in Fragaria Memories they're probably like immortal deities or whatever, but the mental image is extremely funny. I do also feel like I should address the whole the knights ask nothing in return for their love thing, cause like that line pops up at least once per music video. And there's a lot to dissect from that sentence. It's one of the more obvious bits of this franchise is for the girlies and their fantasies, but at the same time, with the connection to Sanrio mascots, it's funny, because there's also this error of like, look at this cute little thing. Of course I would kill for it. Now, let's talk about the music, because the music for this is really good, and also furthers exploration of the characters. Every song can be radically different from one another, but they're all so well made and with beautiful art, and the music itself, Personally, I find the Red Bouquet to have the strongest songs. Ever Red, Your Melody, and Rare are my favorites, I think. Blue and Noir have their wins though. Mobius of Fleeting Pictures blew me away because Louder's vocals went so hard, and I can't quite figure out what it is about Tied to Order that I like, but I like it. Bye Bye too. Hanyeon's voice is so just very alluring. Speaking of voices, Hallritz is also good and charming, and he's pleasing to listen to. And you can tell that there is so much love that went into writing these characters and their songs. There's a lot between the lines about them that you can find in all the extra material. And it's so much fun discovering these characters. I am just very invested in the Sanrio Bishonen fantasy adventure epic franchise. And I'm really into the world and its story and lore. You should all go watch it and listen to the music, and comment on the videos, so Sanrio knows that people outside of Japan love the franchise and want to see it over here. And shout out to the channel KK, who does a lot of translation work for the supplementary material of Fragaria Memories. They truly are a pillar of the community.